every atom. Oh, hidden light, shining in every creature. Oh, hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Come back. Today's speaker, Sister Vimal Balchander ji, will be presenting letter number 14 to 18 from the book Letters from the Masters of the Wisdom, second series, compiled by C. Jan Rajdasi. Although Vimalji is well known to all of us, even then, I would like to give very brief introduction for new members. Vimalji is very dynamic, dedicated, and versatile personality. She is a member of Adyar Law Chennai since 2010. She volunteered at the TS Library and Bookshop. She writes blogs and makes videos on her learning in theosophy. She started a special needs support center for families with differently abled or special children. She is an architect and an artist also. And she is also a good orator. Now I request Vimalji for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Usmati, and thank you to Pradeep ji for the opportunity and trust. So I will begin. These letters, as those who have been following it will realize that these letters are not like the Mahatma letters that we normally read. They are not letters to somebody and where the master is replying to somebody. Most of the letters are like instructions. So we are taking up letters 14 to 18. All these letters are from Master Serapis Bey, whom you all have heard quite a bit about, to Colonel Olcott. And we were looking at where is it dated, if any of them are dated. And we found that only one of them has this mention of received 6 bar, either it's 25 or 15 or 26, it's not clear, bar 75. So as per the American system, 6 represents June. The month is written first in the American system. So it is either 25th or 26th June 1875 when letter number 16 was received. So this is the only one which we have an idea of. But in the forward, Jina Rajadasa has said that all these letters to Olcott were received from June 1875 to August 1875. So this is the period. And in this period, we see all his letters. Now, when we see Serapis Bey's signature in the previous picture, it's interesting to see how the S has been formed at the top of the triangle, and there is this B formation, as you can see in the arrow, just out of our simple interest. So to understand the chronology of events that has happened before this period, this 1875, mid of 1875, what has happened before that, let's look at it. Because this letter will be talking about the mental anguish that HPB has, and also many of these letters will be indicating the occult training which Colonel Olcott will be receiving and what he has to do for that. So to understand our founders and what was their condition before the Theosophical Society actually started, which was in November 17th, 1875. This period, it's very interesting to see the masters were also different, and something new is happening. So the chronology is that July 7th, 1873 is when HPB lands in America, and she meets Olcott for the very first time 1 year later on September 17th in 1874 in the Chittenden Farms, that is Eddy Farmhouse. And this was some state in the state of Vermont where HPB and HSO meet for the very first time only in 1874. So there is somewhere it is written here that it was necessary for HPB to turn for HSO to turn 42 also. HPB was already 42 at the in 1873. 1874 it was necessary for HSO also to be 42 years old before this meeting could take place. They were only 1 year apart in age, because 6 into 7, 42. Some auspicious nature it is that number. So that was the reason the delay was there for them to meet. And then in December 1874 is when HPP decides to go to Philadelphia. Why Philadelphia? Because Philadelphia had more than 300 mediums, and HPB at that time was trying. Density. Later. Seri Dhruvi later. Okay. So, sorry. So HPB was researching all of these things, and she had gone to Philadelphia. HSO followed her. Now HSO received his very first letter from Master Serapis Bey in Philadelphia, whose date is not known clearly. After, and many of you would know that that letter was like a postcard with on a green paper with golden lettering. That was the first letter HSO received. Later on, we know that the letters were received between June and August 1875. And unlike Mahatma letters, which have been researched by Virginia Hanson and whose forwards in Mahatma letters are very useful for our study, and also Joy Mill's explanations are also very useful, we don't have such parallel research into these letters, but there are lots of interesting things in this. So one of the things that you all will be curious about is that we have never heard of Master Serapis Bey. How come he comes in the beginning of all of this, and later on it is only Master KH and Master M? There is a reason for that. The reason is that at the beginning, Olcott was a pupil of Master Serapis Bey. Master Serapis Bey is not is actually a senior. He was a teacher of Master M and KH. He was called Mahaguru by them. So he prepared Colonel Olcott with certain occult instructions and advice before he handed him over to Master M, whose pupil he later on became. So if you see old diary leaves, Olcott's book, Old Diary Leaves, he will say that I was part of the Egyptian Brotherhood at first, and then I was handed over to the Indian section, and my guru changed. So this happened, and this happened at the time. Olcott will mention that in the same place, that it happened at the time when there were psycho-spiritual changes in HPB. Those changes we have discussed in the past. That was when she was ill, and then Master M came into her and did a lot of things through her. So now we look at the letter itself, letter number 14. It starts like this. Not it. I have taken an excerpt from it. Pity her, brother mine, and do not abandon the poor woman. Thy reward will be great, and sweet will be the fruits of the heavenly plant of mercy and charity. So as you can see, there is a HPB is in some kind of turmoil. What is the nature of HPB's turmoil? Why was she in such turmoil? We can only have certain conjecture about this, some intelligent guessing we can do. For example, the problems that she had at this point, which is roughly somewhere in the period of June, is that her second marriage to Michael Bettinelli was in trouble, because initially he did not want any conjugal relations. Later he was pressurizing, so she was disgusted. Secondly, now in May 1875, Master M had given her instructions that now she has to talk about the truth of spiritualism. So in that context, Madam Blavatsky will say, write in her scrapbook, that now my martyrdom is going to begin. She says, an attempt and consequence of orders received from TB, Tuted Bay, through P, an elemental personating John King, ordered to begin telling the truth, telling the public the truth about the phenomena and their mediums. And now my martyrdom will begin. I shall have all the spiritualists against me, in addition to the Christians and skeptics. Thy will, O M, be done. So, this is one second cause of stress. The third cause of stress is that she had to support spiritualism also, while she had to expose the people who were frauds in that. Why she had to support spiritualism is because if she didn't support spiritualism, people will go diametrically opposite into materialism. To understand this aspect of it, if you study Old Diary Leaves, Volume 1, there is a beautiful memorandum that she has written and that was supposed to be published only after her death. And that memorandum is worth reading to understand what was the nature of the complications concerning some of the mediums. So we'll just read it. I'll read it slowly. It's very simple to understand this memorandum. And this was published only after her death. She says, yes, I am sorry to say that I had to identify myself during that shameful exposure of the Holmes mediums with the spiritualists. See, when she says I have to identify myself, means I had to be on their side. I'm ashamed to say I had to be on their side. Okay. Then I had to save the situation, for I was sent from Paris to America on purpose to prove the phenomena and their reality. See, HPB was in Paris before this, before she went to America. And one of the people who knew her there said she was leading a very peaceful, relaxed life there, painting, writing articles, very relaxed life. And then she came to America, and this so many turmoils happened in her life. So I was sent from Paris to America on the purpose to prove the phenomena and their reality and show the fallacy of the spiritualistic theory of spirits. The spiritualistic theory was that these dead people are coming and speaking to us. The spirits themselves are speaking in through these mediums and these seances, which is a complete falsehood because, as we all know, if the higher self goes to higher planes, it is only the shell which is in the Kamaloka, which are coming in these seances. The seances are the souls never come with their connected to their higher selves in the seance rooms is theosophic knowledge, and that is what she had to show the truth of that and prove that to these spiritualists that what they were assuming that some great spirits are coming and giving them advice is false. So she continues, how could I do it best? I did not want people at large to know that I could produce the same things at will. I had received orders to the contrary, and yet I had to keep alive the reality, the genuineness, and the possibility of such phenomena in the hearts of those who, from materialists, had turned spiritualists. So most of the people were science based thinking logically and everything, so they were not believing in all these things. But when they saw more and more phenomena of these mediums and seances, they had become from materialists, they were changing into spiritualists. Now if she exposed them all, these spiritualists, then they would go back to become materialists. So she says, but now owing to the exposure of several mediums at her time itself, this Mr. and Mrs. Holmes and many others were exposed by one Mr. Owen, and there were other people who were exposing these mediums as frauds. So the general public also was losing any belief in these people. So they were returning back to their skepticism, she says. Then she continues, this is why, selecting a few of the handful, I went to the Holmeses and, helped by M and his power, brought out the faces of John King and Katie King from the astral light, produced the phenomena of materialization, and allowed the spiritualists at large to believe it was done by the medium of Mrs. Holmes. So what she did is she knew this Mr. and Mrs. Holmes are fraud. She went to Mr. and Mrs. Holmes' house and actually from the astral light produced the image or the form of John King and Katie King with the help of Master M. Now, Mrs. Holmes was so frightened by that. What HPB says about Mrs. Holmes is she was terribly frightened herself. for she knew that this once the apparition was real. Did I do wrong? The world is not prepared yet to understand the philosophy of occult science. Let them first assure themselves that there are beings in an invisible world, whether spirits of the dead or elementals, and that there are hidden powers in man which are capable of making a god of him on earth. So now you can clearly see that she cannot tell anybody the entire truth, because sometimes she herself is manifesting something. Sometimes she has supported these fraud mediums so that people will not completely go towards skepticism. So there were so many such difficulties that she was facing. And in all this, she cannot even tell the truth of everything to Colonel Olcott. In fact, Colonel Olcott came to know so many things where she herself has materialized things or precipitated things only when she started writing Isis Unveiled. And this is something which Colonel has written, that means around 76, 77. That's when she started telling that what she herself was capable of doing. So she had to keep a lot of things inside her. And we are talking about mid 1874. Then, of course, we know one more aspect of her, which is that all of her sevenfold body is not with her. We know that later on we came to know that through the Mahatma letters, that one part of possibly every one of those, each body, is seven layered. So possibly one layer of each body has been kept back in Tibet, because that was the system there. She had too much knowledge, and they had to keep some part of her in back in Tibet. So that also must have caused a lot of difficulty in her controlling her body, her mind, and all her situation. So these are the main things. She Just to give you one more glimpse of the difficulty she has, she came into limelight when she criticized one Mr. Beard for an article which he had written on Eddie Farmhouse, in which he said that all this is fraud. She had all this is rubbish. So she had criticized him by writing another letter to this newspaper called the Daily Graphic, saying no, this is completely true and all that, and she had criticized him. So now she had come in the limelight. Everybody was looking at her. And to understand this period, you must know there was a Banner of Light, there was Daily Graphic, there were spiritual scientists, there were many newspapers who were wholly devoted to spiritualism, because that was the trending thing. So this all will give you an idea about how much of mental difficulties HPB had. So let's continue with this letter. Be cautious, Master Therapist says. Ponder it and talk the matter over with her tonight. I will inspire our poor sister. Shall we try, brother mine? Repeat every particular to our sister. I will psychologize her, and you will find her more reasonable. If she speaks of herself as a third person in her conversation with you, pay no attention. So here the master says, I will psychologize her. Does he mean he will calm her lower mind and emotions? When he says, if she speaks of herself as a third person, does it mean that it is her higher self speaking? So these are things that we can ponder about. The master is completely in tune with what and in empathy with what HPB is feeling, and is trying his best to calm her down. So I guess this is what he means when he says, I will psychologize her, is calm her emotions and mind down so that she will listen to Olcott. Now, what does Olcott have to, what is it that Olcott is supposed to convince her for? Basically, at this stage, Olcott is being asked to convince her to leave Philadelphia, where her second husband was, and come to New York, where her work will be. So, but she has not yet left. She's still in Philadelphia. So, this is letter number 15 now. Next, it's a much shorter letter. Again, in the same tone. It is nearly on the same tone, where Master Therapist this time is telling something to Olcott, instructions to Olcott uh, on one work that he has to do. Let's read it. Upon returning from the office, know the brotherhood will be assembled in her room, and 7 pairs of ears will listen to your reports and judge of the progress your Atma does in relation to intuitional perceptions. So the 7 pairs of ears refers to 7 people, part of the Brotherhood of Luxor. These are not the brothers that we know of. We know only two of these people. One is Serapis Bay and the other is Tutored Bay. The other five, I'm not sure who they are. I think two names have been mentioned in previous letters, but others I don't know. And they are all going to be there listening to the report, the progress report, which uh, Olcott is going to give to HPB. What is the progress report? Now, this is regarding the work that Olcott is doing in Boston. What is he doing? He is collaborating with the one Eldridge Jerry Brown, who is the publisher of that spiritual scientist newspaper, to form this miracle club. And that was supposed to, that newspaper, because these masters felt that there is already a newspaper, this newspaper's publisher is good, he is looking at it scientifically, so let us use this newspaper to publish our views on what is spiritualism. Let us use this paper, it's already established, let us use it to tell whatever it needs to be told regarding all these the astral life, astral bodies, all these other aspects, are teachings through this newspaper. So this is the work which Olcott was doing at Boston. He was expected to speak to HPB, but in a way that will touch her down, in a way that from his intuition, the truths that he can speak about the situation. So Master says, heed her not when she will tell you that your words do not interest her. Go on and know, sorry, go on and know that you are talking in the presence of your brethren. That means the seven people who will be listening to her. When needed, they will answer you through her. God's blessings uh, be upon thee, brother mine, Serapis. So one other thing you will notice is that they often in these letters will Master Serapis will say God's blessings. We don't see that in KH or Master M's saying, because of course we know the concept of God that they used to talk about. But in this case, it is more like a blessing that may good things happen for you. May our target, our aim be achieved. So it is in that line. So he is again being asked to speak from his intuitional level. So again, you can see the training that Master Serapis is giving to Olcott. They don't just talk this logical lower mind stuff. Try to touch the higher intuitional thinking that you have on what you have to do, the work you have to do. Then we go to the next letter. Letter number 16 says, people must respect, again, Master Serapis is telling Olcott this, people must respect her purity and virtue, for she deserves it. Brother Henry must have the wisdom of the serpent and the gentleness of a lamb. See, that means what? You have to work both with your heart and your mind. That is what it means. Brother Henry must have the wisdom of the serpent and the gentleness of a lamb. A lamb cannot hurt anybody. So, the gentleness of a lamb. For he who hopes to solve in time the great problems of the macrocosmal world and conquer face to face the dweller, taking thus by violence the threshold. It's a very long sentence, so I will take it first part. For he who hopes to solve in time the great problems of the macrocosmal world, that is, the person who's hoping to solve the problems of the whole world and conquer face to face the dweller, that is, he has to conquer, he has to find the solution for the whole world and also solve his own lower level, lower mind, emotional problems, which are represented by the dweller on the threshold, taking thus by violence the threshold on which lie buried nature's most mysterious secrets. So he has to take by violence the threshold on which lie buried nature's most secret, but mysterious secrets. See, when a person controls his lower self and is in control of his lower quaternary, that is when the higher intuitions start working in him, and possibly that's when the psychic gifts also come into play. So that is what is seem to be indicated here. Then must try first the energy of his willpower, the indomitable resolution to succeed. He must first try with the energy of his willpower, the indomitable resolution to succeed. To succeed over what? The control of his lower self. and bring out to light all the hidden mental faculties, and also take allow the higher self to be heard by him. That is, bring out all the hidden mental faculties of his Atma and highest intelligence, get at the problems of man's nature, and solve first the mysteries of his heart. So, this is the training which he is getting. This is where you see Alcott's training being done by master therapists, making him ready for the work ahead. See, you must realize that who was Olcott? He was a lawyer, he was a practical thinker, he was an agriculturist, and he was doing investigation. When he had that one day, he was sitting on the desk and he was doing some investigation for water meters in the local corporation. Okay, he was looking at some case filed by the municipal corporation there about some water meters. Suddenly he had a intuitive thought that it's been a long time, I have not done any research on spiritualism, let me see what is the latest thing going on. He went to the outside his office, went to a newsstand, picked up the banner of light, and then started reading about this Eddy farmhouse. So what was his state then? And then from there in 1875, by the end they start the society. They also go to India, and he becomes a great healer. And then the kind of work he did in Sri Lanka. See, for all that to happen, this kind of training and advice has been given. What do you have to do with the lower self? How do you have to access the intelligence and the wisdom of the higher self? So you see, all that is going on over here. Then this letter continues. Be careful, O brother mine, on the accomplishment of that mission. What is that mission? What was said previously. That is, getting all that, the intelligence of the higher self, all that. Depend the future prosperity of the cause of truth, the happiness of thy sister, and thy own welfare. So, first, these two people, our founders, had to be prepared before they could do all the work that they eventually did. Their own problems, that the here, even in this past few letters, we have been looking at the HPB's dweller, we are looking at Alcott's dweller. So we're looking at two people being mentally prepared for the difficulties that they are going to face, literally criticism from so many quarters. So then the letter continues, the blessing and spiritual influence will follow thy steps. Write to our sister daily. So here you can make out that Alcott is in another place, possibly Boston, and HPP still is in Philadelphia. So this is still that way. Comfort her aching heart and forgive the childish shortcomings of one whose true and faithful heart takes no share with the defects resulting of an early spoiled childhood. You must now, here there's an indication of her early spoiled childhood. See, she came from a wealthy family in Russia, full of servants, never had to do any physical work around the house, no shortage of anything. House at her, everybody is at her beck and call. So maybe, of course, that type of upbringing will have an effect. But what suffering she had when she went to America, we all know the difficulty she had. She lost her father. She didn't get money initially. She had to do all kinds of things to make money. She made dried flour arrangements. They call cravats. She engraved on leather. She did embroidery. She used to draw out visiting cards and design them. Okay, and also draw various other kinds of designs for other small printing work, and of course writing articles, everything to make money, because there was a period in which she was not receiving any money from her father because her father had passed away and she didn't know. So many things. So from that, to from that rich childhood to come and face all these things, even though she had a very pure heart, she's had a spoiled childhood, is what the master says. You must address your reports and daily notes while in Boston to the lodge through Brother John, not omitting the Kabbalistic sign of Solomon on on envelope. Thy faithful brother Serapis. Here, this reminds us, those who are in the esoteric section will remember that they have to write reports monthly, weekly, or bi-monthly. Over the period of time, the thing becomes annually. Similarly, it looks like even Olcott appears to have to write reports, and these reports are being addressed to some place where Brother John, who is Brother John? John King. It is a name given for Master M. Okay, it is Master M here, and it is he who's to whom Olcott is supposed to give the progress report. So all of these are very interesting things to understand the history of the founders and the Theosophical Society. So that ends the letter 16. Letter 17 says, the Lodge is well acquainted with our brother's qualities, and it is those higher faculties of analytical reasoning that our brother's powerful gifts of extracting spiritual truths from the dead letter of seeming contradictions that compel us thus to trust his spiritual intuition for the accomplishment of this delicate mission. So here the master is praising Olcott's analytical skills, that he has an ability to find the truth of things, even if there are seeming contradictions. That is what is compelling us to help him and to trust his spiritual intuitions, because he can see the truth of the situation, even as something as simple as believing in HPB. HPB's nature, quality, goodness, in spite of her external appearance, in spite of contradictions, to go with his intuition so that these two founders are bounded strongly together. That was very necessary. And they can, Olcott can achieve that kind of that thorough binding with HPB only if his intuition was properly awakened about her. So that is what Master Serapis is doing here by encouraging him to tap onto his intuitional uh, knowledge or intuitional wisdom. God lead thee, brother mine, and may he crown thy noble efforts with success. Brother Henry must report every night, and having presented his opinion of the work of the day, mail it to the address of our good brother John, encircling the signs on the of the envelope with the seal of King Solomon thus. We know the Solomon seal is the double inverted triangle, and I think it is almost like some kind of a protection that whatever reports Colonel Olcott sends to John King, they will not be tampered by Duppas or any other negative agencies, and that matter inside will remain protected. So I think this kind of a symbol is used for some protection, is what I think. And again, he's been asked to make this report every night and present his opinion of whatever work he has done through the day and mail it to the address of John King. So they were monitoring the Olcott this carefully. So this is letter 17. And finally, we take up letter 18, which is the last for today. Send forth Atma's most divine emanations, proceeding of that godlike sentiment, the love of mortal man for its fellow creatures in its spiritual expression, and concentrating them, find the means of benefiting humanity by the practical application of the Sephiriths of love, mercy, justice, divine charity, and boundless self abnegation. So, what this is talking about is that you have to find ways by which the higher love that is there in the universe, you have to find similar such thing in the lower plane. Unless you understand what is there in the lower plane and develop the lower level love, you will not be able to tap on to that higher level level of love and all these separates. This paragraph can be understood better when we read it further. So let's read further. The microcosmical application of these will but the better enable to comprehend the mysterious laws of attraction in their macrocosmal shape. That is, if a human being has to develop godlike love for the mortal man, first he has to develop it for his fellow creatures. Then When he does it at a lower level of microcosmal application, then only he will be able to understand how a human being can love the whole of humanity. If you cannot love your neighbor, your relative, your children, your family, the people who are around you, you look at everybody either with some deficiency there or some critical view, and you don't feel that sense of love for them, how can you then love the whole humanity? So it has to start at a microcosmal level. That is what this paragraph is trying to say. Then, purity of earthly love purifies and prepares for the realization of the divine love. Purity of earthly love purifies and prepares for the realization of divine love. No mortal man's imagination can conceive of its ideals of divinity otherwise but in the shape familiar to him. So, unless we experience earthly love in any form, we will not be able to understand what is divine love. So it is an experiential thing. Love is, we will have lot of, we can gain lots and lots of knowledge and ideas and theories about cosmogenesis and anthropogenesis, but the aspect of love is an experiential aspect. And unless there is the purity of earthly love, we will not be able to get divine love. So that is what master therapist is trying to tell him. And you cannot, no mortal man's imagination can conceive of its ideals of the divinity otherwise but in shape familiar to him. So you cannot conceive of the ideal of divinity. Let us say, even if we are trying to imagine the divinity of our masters, can we imagine the perfection unless we have developed an imagination where we can conceive of boundless energy, boundless courage, boundless uh, intellectual abilities, boundless kindness, all that boundless capacity to forgive, all those ideals that are unless we have we can see that possibly around us in our lower level, then only we will be able to imagine it in the divine level. One who prepares for solving the infinite must solve the finite first. The ideal of the spiritual can penetrate only through the imagination, which is the leading path and first gate to the conceptions and impressions of the earthly Atma. The ideal of the spiritual can penetrate only through the imagination, which is the leading path and the first gate to the conception and impressions of the earthly Atma. So, if you have to touch your Atma, if you have to open that gate of the impressions and conceptions of your own Atma, you have to have in your imagination the ideal of the spiritual, the ideal of that divinity. With all their qualities, you have to imagine that first. Then that door will open to your own Atma. This is what the Master is saying. So, with this, I will end and thank you all for patiently listening.
Thank you, Vimalji. Thank you so much for your research-based and insightful, excellent presentation. And you have thrown light on underlying message of these letters. Now I request Meenakshi ji for Hindi translation. Meenakshi ji.
सभी को नमस्ते और थैंक यू सिस्टर विमल जी। आज हम लेटर नंबर 14 से लेकर 18 तक ले रहे हैं, जो कि मास्टर सेरेपिस बे ने कर्नल ऑलकॉट को लिखे थे। मास्टर कर्नल ऑलकॉट को कहते हैं कि एचपीबी से सहानुभूति रखे और उस बेबस को असहाय न छोड़े। आपका प्रतिफल बहुत बड़ा होगा और दयालुता और कृपालुता के दिव्य पौधे के फल मीठे होंगे। सतर्क रहे और इस पर गौर करें। आज रात उससे इस विषय पर बात करें। मैं हमारी बेबस बहन को प्रोत्साहित करूंगा। मेरे बंधु, क्या हम कोशिश करें? हमारी भगिनी से हर एक बात को दोहराओ। मैं उसका मानसिक संतुलन बनाए रखूंगा और आप उसे ज्यादा समझदार पाओगे। अगर बातचीत के दौरान वह आपसे स्वयं को किसी तीसरे व्यक्ति के रूप में बताती है, तब ध्यान न दे। ईश्वर के आशीर्वाद आप पर बने रहे। अगला लेटर है लेटर नंबर 15। मास्टर कहते हैं, कार्यालय से लौटने पर ध्यान रखें कि एचपीबी के कमरे में सिद्ध संघ के महात्मा गण इकट्ठे होंगे और 7 जोड़ी कर्ण यानी 7 महात्मा गण आपकी रिपोर्ट को सुनेंगे और अंत प्रज्ञा संबंधी ग्रहण बोध में आपकी आत्मा की प्रगति को आंकेंगे। जब एचपीबी आपको बताए कि आपकी बातों में उसकी रुचि नहीं है, तब उसकी बातों पर ध्यान न दे। आप अपनी बात को जारी रखें और यह जान ले कि आप महात्मा गणों के समक्ष उनकी उपस्थिति में बात कर रहे हैं। आवश्यकतानुसार वे एचपीबी के माध्यम से आपको उत्तर देंगे। ईश्वर का आशीर्वाद आप पर हो। लेटर नंबर 16 में मास्टर सेरेपिस कहते हैं, लोगों ने एचपीबी की पवित्रता और सद्गुणों को सम्मान करना चाहिए क्योंकि वह इसकी हकदार है। बंधु हेनरी में एक सर्प की बुद्धिमत्ता और मेमने जैसी सौम्यता होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जो व्यक्ति समय पर जगत के महान प्रश्नों को हल करने और ड्वेलर पर रूबरू विजय पाने की आशा रखता है और इस तरह दृढ़ता से उस दहलीज पर थ्रेशोल्ड पर विजय प्राप्त करना चाहता है जिस पर प्रकृति के सबसे गूढ़ रहस्य दबे हुए हैं, उसे सर्वप्रथम अपनी इच्छा शक्ति की ऊर्जा, सफलता पाने के लिए अदम्य संकल्प और अपनी आत्मा और उच्चतम बुद्धिमत्ता की सभी गुप्त सुप्त मानसिक क्षमताओं को प्रकाश में लाकर मानवीय स्वभाव की समस्याओं को समझने और सबसे पहले उसके हृदयस्थ रहस्यों को सुलझाने का प्रयास करना होगा। मेरे बंधु, सचेत रहे। उस विशेष कार्य की बुद्धिमानी से पूर्ति होने पर ही भविष्य में सत्य के कार्य की संपन्नता, आपके बहन की यानी एचपीबी की प्रसन्नता और आपका कल्याण निर्भर है। आप पर हर वक्त आशीर्वाद और दिव्य प्रभाव बना रहेगा। हमारी पीड़ित बहन को प्रतिदिन पत्र लिखा करें, उसके दुखी हृदय को, मन को सांत्वना दे और उसके बचकानी खामियों को माफ कर दे, जिसके सच्चे और वफादार हृदय में ऐसी कोई त्रुटियां नहीं जो बचपन में लाड़ प्यार से बिगड़ी हो। बोस्टन में रहते हुए आपको अपनी रिपोर्ट और हर दिन के नोट्स ब्रदर जॉन के माध्यम से लॉज लॉज को यानी सिद्ध संघ को भेजने होंगे। लिफाफे पर सोलोमन के गुप्त चिन्हों को जरूर उतारना होगा। अगले लेटर में मास्टर कहते हैं, सिद्ध संघ हमारे बंधु के यानी कर्नल ऑलकॉट के विशिष्ट गुणों से भली भांति परिचित है और विश्लेषणात्मक तर्क की उनकी उच्च क्षमताएं और प्रतीत होने वाले विरोधाभासों में अंतर्निहित आध्यात्मिक सत्य का अनावरण करने की हमारे बंधु की अद्भुत क्षमता ही हमें इस नाजुक कार्य की पूर्ति हेतु उनके अंत प्रज्ञा पर विश्वास करने के लिए बाध्य करती है। मेरे बंधु, ईश्वरीय मार्गदर्शन आपके साथ हो और वह आपके नेक प्रयासों को सफलता प्रदान करे। बंधु हेनरी को हर रात रिपोर्ट देनी होगी और प्रतिदिन के कार्य के बारे में अपनी राय प्रस्तुत करने के बाद उसे हमारे नेक बंधु जॉन के पते पर भेजना होगा। लिफाफे पर किंग सोलोमन की मुहर इस प्रकार लगानी होगी। अगले पत्र में मास्टर कहते हैं, आत्मा के अत्युच्च दिव्य स्रोत निर्झर को उस ईश्वर सदृश मनोभाव को प्रसारित करे, विकरित करे। नश्वर मनुष्य का उसके उच्चतर आध्यात्मिक अभिव्यक्ति में अपने साथियों के प्रति प्रेम को केंद्रित करते हुए प्रेम, दया, न्याय, निस्वार्थ सेवा भाव और असीम आत्मत्याग के दिव्य गुणों के व्यावहारिक प्रयोग द्वारा मानवता को लाभान्वित करने के साधन खोजे। इनके मानव जाति पर प्रयोग से लॉ ऑफ अट्रैक्शन को उनके बृहद ब्रह्मांडीय रूप में समझने में और भी बेहतर ढंग से सक्षम बनाएगा। सांसारिक प्रेम स्नेह भाव की पवित्रता दिव्य ईश्वरीय प्रेम की अनुभूति के लिए हमें शुद्ध करता है, तैयार करता है। किसी भी नश्वर मनुष्य की कल्पना ईश्वरत्व के आदर्शों को उसके परिचित रूप के अलावा किसी और रूप में नहीं कल्पित कर सकती। जो व्यक्ति अनंत को सुलझाने की तैयारी करता है, उसे सर्वप्रथम सीमित नश्वर को सुलझाना होगा। आध्यात्मिक आदर्श केवल कल्पना के माध्यम से ही प्रवेश कर सकता है, जो सांसारिक आत्मा की धारणाओं और संस्करण तक पहुंचने का अग्रणी मार्ग और प्रथम द्वार है। थैंक यू। नमस्ते।
Thank you, Meenakshi ji. Now forum is open for discussion. Participants can ask question from speaker, and if they want to add something, they are most welcome. Shinde sir, you are there. You are here. Can you add something or do you want to say something? Shinde sir or Pradeep sir ji?
विवाह माधव जी कुछ पूछने वाला था। माधव जी, सिंधी जी।
Host.
now it is
Now,
open.
ji.
Yeah, Vimal ji,
Yes.
the seven masters, they come and they listen to all these great souls with the H.P. Blavatsky. That is what it is said, because it begins from the microcosm. But they give instruction, see that there will be Solomon symbol. What do you think about it? This Solomon symbol is seal of hexagram, Star of David, Wisdom, and Temple of Jerusalem. Actually, it is a six-pointed star. So whatever you find, just like our Sri Chakra, they are using this Solomon thing. Have you found anything deeper in it?
No, sir, I have not found any literature on it.
Okay. Because Solomon signifies wisdom and leadership, spiritual growth. We must explore more about King Solomon, of the symbolism associated with him. I don't know, but what I think like this. But it is a good thing. They have directly said we must start from the microcosm, because enlightenment comes from within, not from outside. So we have to start. And in those days, all the seven masters were appearing actually in subtler forms, of course, not visible forms, but they were there. That's what it later implies. Very nicely you explained, and also you gave very nicely. I am really interested to listen you always. You explain very well. Thank you. Thank you. And Meenakshi also gave good translation that makes us more clear. Thank you. Thank you.
It's actually very strange that people have done research on the Mahatma letters to Senate and Hume, but they have not done research on this series. So there are no commentaries for this series.
Yeah.
If there were commentaries, then we can learn more. So to develop the commentaries, we need people to do parallel other research to explain it, which is not happened, and maybe in the future somebody will take it up. Because this is the beginning. This is the
Right.
beginning of the preparation of the founders. The founders are being prepared to start the society through this. You can make out the beginning. The stage
Yes.
is being set.
Yes,
So it's a
even
very
Master said, I spiritualize the, not psychologizes the HPB.
yes.
See how they were controlling our lower bodies, actually. Mm.
Because actually the collating and understanding of this requires a very deep research. Somebody has to do nothing else but only study this. Because they are at this point they are writing articles in so many spiritual magazine newspapers. So we have to read all of that. Then we have to see the environment which was there in America at that time. We have to see that so many aspects to understand what HPB is going through. HPB is going through a lot at this period. And along with her, and if you look at also what is the how Olcott got into this whole thing, you know, the first time, as the second time when he met her in New York, Olcott, when HPV met Olcott, she told him his full history. She told him all his personal details right there. That's how he was totally impressed with her. That he knew his private details also. So even that part of the story of all that somebody should write it in the way it actually happened, how the Alcott's complete immersion into it, the attraction, how he got into it and began to realize that she is a perfect soul, she is a completely honest person, she can be fully trusted, and then he gave everything into the put himself into that. But it was, see, how many months have happened? Only in the sometime in 1875 is when he gets the first letter from Master Serapis Bey. Before that, it is HPB's own magnetism and her own personality which has attracted him.
I am of the opinion that they will help us to expand our consciousness step by step. Like only desire make no change. But if you think deeply what you have desired, and that desire becomes more and more intentive, and it takes us to the next step, then determination takes us and makes much difference in our life. This is what it happened. When I first time came to Adyar, I don't know what happened. The atmosphere itself inspired me. And I just had desire. How can I come here? How can I work here? I have read so many people have read. I am far away from the Adyar and Tamil Nadu. How is it possible? But that desire was there within, and that desire gets intended slowly. And this work was done by subtler level, gradually. And when I received letter from the Radha Barnier, then it becomes the determination. So this is how desire only won't change anything. But the next stage is decision. And the final stage is determination. Even if we decide, it won't happen. When I determined, when the letter from the international president came to me, can you come and serve here? Then I determined. See, the changes how it occur. First desire, then thinking over it, and finally determination comes, but decision won't come. Then determination naturally brings you to that level. So psychologizing what they are telling, I relate this from the microcosm. Slowly it takes us. And one more sentence is there. It is very difficult to understand the divine love. That divine love, it is not experiential. You said it is experiential. No, it is not experiential. All experience stop. And we jump to that level. We don't know what it is. It is a bliss, we can say. So, okay,
sir.
very
Thank you.
nice to listen.
Thank you so
all.
much, sir.
Nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madhav ji, do you
Thank
want
you.
to say something?
मेरा क्वेश्चन तो थोड़ा ऐसे ही
Madhav,
है एक तो मैडम ने बहुत अच्छा एक्सीलेंटली एक्सप्लेन किया पांचवें लेटर को, बहुत अच्छा लगा, वेरी नाइसली एक्सप्लेन। उसमें एक शब्द आया है तो विजडम ऑफ द सर्पेंट, यानी कि मास्टर जो है ऑल, उसमें ऑलकॉट साहब को किस प्रकार की विजडम की अपेक्षा करते थे? किस
विजडम मतलब जो ऑब्वियस चीज है उसको नहीं देखना है, उसके पीछे क्या है, जो अंदर छुपा हुआ सच है वो देखना हर सिचुएशन में।
जैसे सर्प में जहर भी है और ऐसा
नहीं, स्नेक आउल ये सारी विजडम के ही एनिमल्स रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं ना। स्नेक्स तो कहते हैं कि दे आर फ्रॉम सम अदर प्लानिटरी सिस्टम ना। स्नेक्स ओरिजिनली they were from some other much advanced planetary system जो बचे हुए
Snake
यहाँ
is
के
snake is represented through wisdom. Therefore, snake is represented by wisdom. Suppose that is the symbol of Naga Sadhu. They are all wisdom oriented. But why serpent is a symbol of wisdom? That is not written anywhere. We have to go deeper to know what is that. Why serpent is given the symbol of wisdom. Madhavji, you are thinking of the serpent also consists of poison, so why it is so? But actually it is the symbol of, in Hindu mythology, serpent is always symbolized with wisdom. So wisdom part is that is that. But here I am giving one or two points for just giving discussion. The Solomon seal, actually it is a six-pointed star. In one of his letters, Master Cage given that six-pointed star. He did not describe the actual meaning. He left it for us to meditate and think over it, ponder over it, and know what is the meaning of six-pointed star. But six-pointed star in our seal, in Theosophy seal, symbolizes that the downgrade symbol is relating to, downgrade triangle is relating to consciousness entering into the matter. Then it is the black one, and the white is relating to going upward, means consciousness coming out of the matter, means unfoldment. So that is the King Solomon. King Solomon is a great king of Israel and a very popular ruler, and also a very well-known person in the Masonic circle also. And that is the, so Mahatma ultimately those individual who can explain the six-pointed star in our esoteric meaning, he will be reach perfection. He will be means Mahatma, means adept level. At adept level, Madhavji, we can reach when a person reach adept level, mean fifth initiation, he will able to know the inner meaning of the six-pointed star or Solomon seal, which is visible in our theosophical seal also. And in a theosophical seal, it will explain that Atma going into the matter is down down triangle which is going down, and up is which is going up, that is upper triangle going up. That much is given in theosophical test. Then letter number 18 is a very interesting letter, which is always in a different context, which he quoted in daily meditation. This actually given a practical application of the Sephirth of love, mercy, justice, divine charity, and boundless self-abnegation. So, five things it has given. So, what it is mean to say, Sephirth of love means all the divine love. If we can do that at our material world, if we can start with our family, with our friends, with our all this love, mercy, justice, charity, and self-abnegation, then we can go, or our consciousness can be expanded. ये थोड़ा बढ़ेगा. So here, this spirit of earthly love prepare for the realization of a divine love. You can see there are many things in a mundane on daily life. We are coming with many types of people. Maybe maid servant, maybe our friends, or our individual whom we do not like at all to see their face. And we are very, that create irritation amongst us. So that is not the purity of love. When we love all without any kind of limitation, then it will take us to divine love. So that is the reason. Purity of earth love means you love each and everyone, whether that person is a enemy, or that person is not liked by you, or anybody with whom you will be contact. The moment you take the initiate that I will be very loving to each and everyone, that then the test will come, and you will be given, or some person will come create irritation. At that moment, this divine love or purity of earthly love will be tested. So purity of earthly love is important in this sense. If we can see the somewhere I read that Master Case loved the whole humanity, including each and every individual, not only those who are attempting to pursue the spiritual path, but also those who are also not in the line of path. So he loved all and every individual in the earth as a mother loves his first child. So that love is required for us. That mercy, justice, divine charity, boundless abnegation, self-organization, it is all necessary so that we can transform ourselves from microcosmic level to macrocosmic level. Say, spirit of earthly love purifies, prepare for the realization of earthly divine love. So that is the more important. Each and every one among us, whenever we will face an individual or anything, even a plant, animal, the test will be there to how we love each and everyone, whatever is near us. Whether your grandson or grandchildren, how you behaving with your daughter-in-law, with your neighbor or your relation who create a relative creating problem for us, how you loving him. So that is the real test. So purity of earth love means if you purify your love without any limitation, without any grudge, then it will prepare you for the realization of divine love. Thank you. That's what I added.
Thank you very much, sir. Very nicely
Thank you,
explained.
sir.
Very, very well,
Thank
sir. Actually, you have mentioned it's a what it should be a correct. You have explained it very well. What you're saying is that these separates of mercy, justice, divine charity, and boundless self-abnegation
you.
or self-sacrifice is
Yes.
what will develop this earthly love. So all these qualities are required. Charity, self-abnegation, that thing we can go back and read the text again. Those are the call. Very nicely you have explained, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I want to say something. It is
Yes.
written in रामचरितमानस कि बिन पद चले सुने बिन काना और बिन कर्म करे विधि नाना. It is said for serpent. And I have read an article in uh, Path, April 1892. This article is written by William Q. Judge, and the title is Theosophical Symbol. And whatever Pradeep sir said, it is written in this article, detailed. So I have prepared a lecture for Lodge. So I am listening. Exactly, it was written in this article, written by W.Q. Judge in Path 1892. So just I want, because time is short, otherwise I want to read this passage. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Shinde sir, Pradeep sir, and all the participants. Now,
Thank you. Thank you.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. From the unreal lead us to the real, from darkness lead us to light, from death lead us to immortality. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining.
Vimalji,
Thank
you collect from me the old theosophists that I want to share with you sometime.
Okay, sir.
Mm.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. Good night.